Kofi Nuel released a well-crafted 7-track faith-inspired EP titled The Faith Trip, and I remember the first time I listened to it, I was in total disbelief. I had to actually pinch myself to feel if this was not a simulation, because I thought I was even dreaming. As a young man, an entire production on this particular EP did a thing. The project is 10 10 10 across the board. It sounds very intentional, very personal, very expressive, and the vocal virtuosity cannot be overemphasized. He recruits 4 amazing producers on this particular one, yet it sounds so well put together. They gel so well. The cohesion is so strong. Generally, some things stood out for me, and I'm going to get into it very soon. But hello, hi, I am Dr. GB Solomon, and welcome to my channel. This is Roast on GB Interactive, a time that I review and react to your favorite gospel music in the world, but especially in Ghana. If you're new to this channel, please subscribe. Don't forget to like, share, and leave me a comment or two. Faith Trip is his debut EP, an R&B record with neo soul and contemporary worship or gospel influences here and there. The R&B sound isn't so familiar with a lot of Ghanaians, and so anyone who ventures into this subgenre of gospel must be very audacious, must be very bold. The EP takes you through an expedition of faith, where Kofi Nuel shares his personal experiences through life, his wins, his fears, his struggles, his losses, the disappointments, even needing to make very tough choices. As a Christian, a creative, and a social being, you can tell that he takes inspiration from all that makes him him and puts together not just an emotional piece of work, but a spirit-filled piece of work. And so it doesn't only appeal to your emotions, but it appeals to your spirit man as well. His sultry vocal delivery combined with the amazing layered vocals from the BVs definitely emphasizes the emotions throughout this particular EP. Let's delve into each song one after the other. The EP begins with Closer, which is a lot of people's favorites, and on this Closer song, Kofi Nuel talks about wanting to get closer to God, and that's after he has realized that life brings nothing but hurt, tiredness, brokenness, and disappointments. He's tried to deal with most of these emotions on his own, but has realized that Jesus is the only answer.
Tired, hurt, broken, disappointed in all that life brings. Gotta try it on my own. Now I know I can go on alone. I wanna be.
So the song is set in the 6/8 time signature, and it begins with this soft and sweet, captivating tremolo and licks from the guitar. Then they continue with the guitar playing these two string chord throughout for most part of the song. The instrumentation is very minimal to give room to the memorable and sultry melodies from the lead. I love it when an artist is repeating a verse or a phrase in the song and adds this improvisation or this variation to it. It's so beautiful to hear, and you hear it so many times on this particular EP, where Kofi vocal prowess or vocal ability shines through. He's able to manipulate the notes to sound different The background singers definitely added a lot of color to this particular song, which also helped to emphasize the emotions very, very well. With their ins and outs, the vocal harms, and the careful application of the vocal dynamics here and there made the song so worth it. Then it follows with Plants, which features the Che Mensah. This song reminds me so much of Reason to Believe, which is a track on Che Mensah's Sound and Faith EP, which
I know you said, I know the plans I have for you. I know the plans I have for you. Oh, plans to prosper you and not to harm you. I know the plans I have for you.
which I've roasted on Twitter. I'm sure I might put the link to that in the description below. I'll have to do that. Check that roast as well. The two of them, this is a collaboration that we knew we needed, but we were not ready for.
I know your fears and doubts, what keeps you up at night. But my promises are yes and amen. My yoke is easy and my burden is light. What do you do? What do you say? Just hold on.
Lyrically, this song is a great blend of their personal experiences and messages from the scripture, carefully woven together to give one hope. They convey this message of hope with so much soul and depth, employing delicate techniques here and there, like the glissando Kofi Nuel does at "You Feel Life Should Stop." The modulation was very necessary in the song, because it was getting to a point that if they just continue to repeat it just the same way, it was going to get boring. So that modulation infused some amount of energy in the song. The voicing of the background was so soft, and the effect the producer adds to it puts you in the mood. They did sound, the lead sound a bit stressed at certain points, especially when they were trying to hit the high notes, get to the end, which is understandable, but it is not a live record, so I was expecting that maybe they wanted us to feel the soul, and the the realness of the sound. Then there is Choices. This song Choices reminds me of the year 2009 when CC and Baby Winers released Still, the album Still. It had songs like Grace, songs like He Can Handle It. It was an R&B record that I loved so much, and this song reminds me of that EP so much. So there's always that nostalgic feeling, and I love that Kofi Nuel actually understands the R&B genre and did justice to it. This is the Ghanaian doing justice to R&B genre. The lyric says that life is full of so many choices everywhere you go, and many voices are calling for you. Pray you are not falling for the devil, but even if you should stumble, listen to one voice. It is the voice of Jesus calling for you, calling you to keep moving. Now, the rhyme scheme in this particular phrase is insane. You have choices rhyming with the voices, you have devil rhyming with stumble. The thinking behind the composition and then the arrangement has to be mentioned.
Life is full of so many choices everywhere you go, and there's so many voices calling for you. Hope you're not falling for the devil, but if you should stumble.
Can we talk about the vocal agility of Kofi for a second? In this particular song and the songs that have come before, he's doing a lot with his voice. He has an amazing mixed, vocal register, and he switches between the head and the chest, and the mix so effortless, so clean. He does this fast-paced riffs that the process are so evident and so clear to hear. There's somebody that you can see that put a lot of work into how he is going to sound on this particular EP. But I love it so much that even though you can see that there's attention that was put on how he sounded, it didn't sound robotic. It sounded so raw and so real and so natural and so vulnerable. The song gives you something to to look out for, with the way it starts with a beatboxing at the beginning and the way it actually ends with an instrumental guitar outro. Gives you, so the outro will make you want to come and listen again, and the beatboxing will make you want to wonder what is going to happen in the song. So I think that were very beautiful additions, very beautiful coloring they did to make the song stand out on its own as well. The vocal direction deserves special mention. The hums, the riff, the stretches of notes, the ins and outs. I can go on and on and on and on about this particular song, and I think that I should do an extensive roast on this particular song alone, because I love choices so much that I think that I have to talk about it. Then there is Maintaining Grace, which features Ajo Gordon. Listen to this. There is forgiveness for all sin, and there is peace within when we let Jesus in. But as soon as the stage is clear, we are back to life just the way it is.
There's forgiveness from all sin, and there's a peace within when we let Jesus in. But as soon as the stage is cleared, and we're back to life just the way it is.
Very, very real, very, very relatable. The songwriter is asking Jesus to give him strength to maintain the grace, to give him strength to keeping on. And this song requires you to be very real with yourself. Take a pause, listen, and reflect. Just a few days ago, I was talking to somebody who was talking about introspection, and I think it's a very, very important thing to do on your Christian walk, in our Christian journey. Take a pause, be real with yourself, be candid about your struggles, find where you can actually find help or solution, which is definitely in Jesus Christ, and tap into that strength. The song, however, gets hazy and indistinct further on. When it gets to the ending part, you cannot really make out what is actually happening there. Everything just sounded so mashed together, and I was like, you started so well, and Ajo definitely will sound great on a different record than this particular one. This is just because Kofi had already set the tone from the beginning, in the EP. Maybe if you listen to this song in isolation, wow, marvelous. But if you should listen to it as part of the project, then you kind of feel like takes a little bit something out of it. And there is Trust and Obey. This is a rendition, and this one features Ohenewa Williams. This song is a very old hymn that still carries so much weight and message. The vamp to me is what stood out for me, just because of the questions that they were asking. Very, very important question. Will you trust him with all your heart? Will you trust that Jesus is enough? I think that we trust Jesus, but the enough part is where we mostly struggle with, where you trust him but you want to pass back door to get job. You trust him but you want to pass back door to make some money. You trust him but you want to do corner.
Can you trust him? Can you trust him with your heart? Can you trust him? Trust that Jesus is enough.
Will you trust him?
Trust him.
Will you trust him with your heart? Trust that Jesus is the only way.
So do you trust that Jesus is enough? Again, I would say that the two leads were not so complementary. Outside the EP, I think it will work, but on the EP, it still kind of felt like Ohenewa didn't give as much as I had expected, even though her voice sounds so angelic and so beautiful to hear. I mean, there's an expectation, so if it doesn't meet it, I think it's right that I state it. And I also wish that the organ session at the end had stayed a bit longer. It was so short-lived. Then there is Do Not Fear, which is my personal favorite on the album. The message is very, very profound. The approach to delivering the message is also very dreamy and very ethereal. The arrangement is so on point. The BVs showed range on this particular song as well. The dynamics in the song literally took my breath away. I particularly loved how this mixing was done in this particular song as well. And I'll also take time to break down this song in another video, because there's so much to learn and so much to appreciate in this particular song. The key change was smooth, nearly unrecognizable. Kofi had a fun time on this song, you can tell.
Trials and tribulations weigh you down, and you want to throw in the towel. Remember, God is love. He holds you in his hands. Do not, do not fear, my child. God is holding your hand, No, no.
And with the clean riffs, with the sultry melodies, the storytelling was so interesting. The control, he just completely bodied this particular song. Do not fear is a reassurance from God that he is there through it all. The song Thankful is another favorite of mine on this particular EP. Sometimes we focus so much on the struggle and what we need and fail to appreciate God for the things that we already have, the non-negotiables. In Philippians 4:6-7, it says, "Be anxious for nothing, but in everything through prayer and supplication with thanksgiving." Make a request known unto God. So don't take away that thanksgiving. It features Alvina Cooper, who was stellar. The performance on this song was stellar, and I love that the two leads complemented each other in a very, very professional way. They gave what was needed for this particular song. They were so dedicated. They sounded so real, so authentic, so honest. They took it so personal. I love that their connection with the band, their connection with one another, and you could say that they were in tune with the Spirit of God as well. The production on this song is also very intentional and very, very exceptional, same as the vocal direction as well. The vocal production is very solid. The doubles, the harmonies, the dynamics, the expressions, the control, and how convincing they sound. They sounded very believable and they were full of emotions. I won't take anything from this particular song. On the downside, one major issue I had with this EP was to do with diction. How Kofi particularly enunciates some of the words were quite taxing to make out. So that's one thing I'll take out. Another thing I'll take out from the EP is that I didn't hear any Ghanaian language. At least if you not add any Ghanaian influence, at least a language change would have been okay for me. Just because I'm Ghanaian, I'm trying to be must it all be English? Okay, you could have been some guy. If he's guy, could have been fancy. I think he's probably fancy. I don't know. Or put some tree somewhere. It can still be on the R&B style, but the language is changed a little bit. Yeah, I think those two. As for the some of the leads not complements, I've already stated that. One of the songs too, I would say that was very, very hazy and indistinct at some parts, and with some little struggle with some pitches here and there. But overall, I think this is a very great EP. Somebody might say that you said it's a 10-10 across board. Why are you now talking about the negatives? Because the entire project screams 10-10-10. I love the intentionality behind it, but obviously there's nothing in this that is very perfect. If I should give it an actual credit, I'm going to give it like an 8.1 out of 10. But it was a good project. But guys, what do you think about the Fate Trade by Kofi Nuel? Tell me which songs are your favorite on this one, and do share my sentiments as well. Which do you disagree with? Share your thoughts and comments with me in the comment section below, and keep coming back to the channel for more. Have a wonderful time. Suggest videos for me to roast, suggest songs for me to roast, and don't forget to subscribe if you are new here. Like this video, share, drop a comment. Let YouTube pick it up and suggest it to people. Thanks for watching and have a wonderful time. Bye bye.